The emergency lights flickered red across the council chamber as delegates from 47 different species filed through the entrance. Nobody spoke. The silence felt heavy, unusual for a gathering that normally buzzed with political debates and trade negotiations. Ambassador Trill folded his wings tight against his body, a nervous habit his species developed when facing danger. He had served the Galactic Council for 30 years and never witnessed this level of collective fear. High Scholar Bryn floated in her water-filled chamber near the central platform. Her translucent skin pulsed with bioluminescent patterns that betrayed her anxiety. She had spent the last 3 months reviewing reports, watching footage, interviewing survivors. The patterns she discovered kept her awake during rest cycles. Security Chief Knox clicked his mandibles together as he activated the holographic display. His compound eyes reflected the images that materialized above the assembly. 3 separate incidents, 3 different locations across the galaxy, 3 complete annihilations. The first image showed wreckage floating in space. Twisted metal and frozen bodies drifted through the void. The attacking fleet belonged to the Krill Empire, one of the most powerful military forces in known space. Their destroyer had carried 800 warriors, all trained since birth for combat. Now their ship existed only as debris scattered across 100,000 kilometers. The second image displayed a merchant fleet from the Thelker Confederation. 19 vessels, each one stripped clean and left dead in space. The crews had died slowly, their final transmissions filled with terror and confusion. These were not military ships. They were pirates, yes, but pirates who had successfully raided hundreds of convoys without facing real resistance. The third image brought gasps from several delegates. An entire colony world lay in ruins. The Soltar Dominion had used forbidden orbital weapons against this target. 500,000 casualties in the initial strike. The Soltar expected quick victory against an inferior opponent. Instead, 3 of their own colony worlds now sat empty, populations evacuated under threat of total destruction. Trill stood and addressed the assembly. His voice came out steadier than he felt. Honored delegates, we face an unprecedented situation. The humans have been part of galactic civilization for only 2 generations. We welcomed them as primitive but peaceful. We offered technology, trade routes, and cultural exchanges. They seemed grateful, eager to learn, harmless. He paused, letting his words sink in. We were catastrophically wrong about that last part. Bryn activated her translation device. Her voice filled the chamber through speakers designed to carry her aquatic speech patterns. I have studied Earth's history extensively. My findings disturb me greatly. Humans evolved as pursuit predators on a death world. They hunted prey by following it for days until exhaustion claimed the target. They developed tribal structures that demanded blood payment for murdered clan members. They fought themselves in conflicts that claimed millions of lives, then rebuilt and fought again. She displayed statistics on the hologram. For 6,000 years of recorded history, humans engaged in continuous warfare. They developed weapons capable of rendering their own planet uninhabitable, then chose not to use them through sheer collective will. When they reached space, they brought this entire legacy with them. A delegate from the Gorlan Republic stood. His fur bristled with agitation. Surely we exaggerate. 3 incidents do not prove a pattern. Perhaps luck favored the humans. Knox stepped forward. His exoskeleton gleamed under the chamber lights. I invite you to review the evidence personally. The Krill attacked without warning, believing humans would surrender after heavy casualties. Instead, the humans infiltrated their destroyer using nothing but mining equipment and technical knowledge. They systematically killed every crew member over 14 days while broadcasting their murdered colonists' names. No mercy, no prisoners, no negotiation. He shifted the display. The Thelker pirates ambushed a human convoy. The humans refused to abandon their stolen ships. For 18 days, they tracked the pirates through deep space in damaged vessels. They sent teams across vacuum to plant explosives and sabotage life support. They waited and watched while the pirates died of thirst. One human transmission was recovered. It said simply, "We can wait as long as it takes." The chamber erupted in agitated chatter. Various species expressed disbelief, fear, or anger through their unique communication methods. Trill raised his wings for silence. "The third incident proves the most disturbing," Bryn continued. "The Soltar used planetary bombardment weapons. They killed 500,000 humans in minutes. Every other species we have encountered would have surrendered or sought arbitration. The humans declared what they called total war and threatened nuclear annihilation of Soltar homeworlds. They were not bluffing. Only our direct intervention prevented genocide on a scale this galaxy has not witnessed in 10,000 years." An ancient delegate from the Vex Collective spoke through her neural interface. Her species had existed for millions of years and witnessed the rise and fall of countless civilizations. "What do the humans say about these incidents?" Trill gestured toward the entrance. "We have invited their ambassador to address this concern." Ambassador Kate Lynn entered the chamber. She wore a simple uniform without decorations or weapons. Her appearance seemed deliberately non-threatening, but her eyes held something that made even seasoned warriors uncomfortable. She walked to the central platform with calm confidence. "Honored delegates," she began. Her voice carried clearly without technological amplification. "Humanity does not seek conflict. We came to the stars hopping to find friends, partners, and teachers. We have found all of these things among your various peoples." She let that statement settle before continuing. "However, we also found predators who mistook our peaceful nature for weakness. They attacked our families. They murdered our children. They believed we would accept this because we lack your advanced weapons or your long histories in space." Her expression hardened. They learned an important lesson. Humans do not fight to win territories or resources. When threatened with extinction, we fight until the threat no longer exists. We do not accept surrenders from those who attack our homes. We do not negotiate with murderers of our children. We finish what others start, regardless of cost. The chamber fell silent. "We hope this warning reaches all corners of known space," Lynn concluded. "Leave us in peace, and we will be your greatest allies. Attack us, and you will learn why Earth is classified as a death world. There will be no survivors among those who threaten human families. This is not a threat. It is a promise backed by 3 proven examples." The council chamber remained silent long after she departed. Finally, Knox activated the communication array. The warning broadcast began transmitting across all known frequencies, reaching every corner of the galaxy. "Never attack humans. No one survives." Commander Voss examined the asteroid field through the viewport of his destroyer. The rocks drifted in lazy patterns, each one glittering with mineral deposits worth more than most planets. His crew had claimed this territory 3 years ago through military force. The previous occupants, a peaceful mining collective, had abandoned their equipment and fled after a single warning shot. These new miners proved different. Humans. They arrived 6 months ago with outdated ships and basic drilling equipment. They ignored all demands to leave. They refused to acknowledge Krill ownership of the asteroid field. They simply continued mining. Voss found their defiance insulting. The Krill Empire had conquered 17 systems through overwhelming military superiority. Their warriors trained from hatching for combat. Their technology surpassed most galactic species. A primitive race from some distant backwater world should recognize superior force and retreat. He turned to his weapons officer. "Target their main habitat dome. Single strike. Give them one opportunity to evacuate." The plasma cannon charged with a low hum that resonated through the ship's hull. Voss watched the targeting computer lock onto the transparent dome that housed 3,000 human colonists. He felt no particular malice toward them. They simply needed to learn their place in the galactic hierarchy. The weapon fired. Green energy crossed the distance in seconds. The dome shattered. Atmosphere venting into space along with bodies, equipment, and debris. Voss counted to 60, giving survivors time to reach escape pods or emergency shelters. No response came through communication channels, no distress signals, no surrender offers. The remaining human structures sat silent among the asteroids. Perhaps they all died in the initial strike, his tactical officer suggested. Voss doubted that. Miners kept emergency equipment scattered throughout their operations. Some surely survived. We wait. They will contact us when they accept reality. 3 days passed. The human structures remained active. Power signatures indicated their life support systems functioned. Mining operations continued in several asteroids despite the destroyed dome. Voss found their silence unnerving. On the 4th day, his ship lost main power. Emergency systems activated, bathing the corridors in red light. Engineering teams rushed to diagnose the problem. They found nothing wrong with the reactor or distribution systems. The power simply stopped flowing. "Commander, we have movement outside," his sensor officer reported. "Multiple human vessels approaching." Voss ordered defensive positions. His crew armed themselves and prepared for boarding actions. They had trained for such scenarios countless times. A handful of desperate miners stood no chance against 800 krill warriors. The humans never attacked the main entrance. Instead, they cut through the hull in engineering sections, maintenance tunnels, and cargo bays. They moved through the ship like shadows, avoiding direct confrontation. They sabotaged systems, sealed bulkheads behind them, and disappeared into the destroyer's complex network of passages. Life support began failing in sections. Food storage units stopped working. Water recyclers broke down. Communication systems went dark. The humans dismantled everything with methodical precision. Voss organized hunting parties to eliminate the intruders. His warriors found mining equipment converted into weapons. Cutting torches became flamethrowers. Drilling explosives became booby traps. The humans fought from ambush positions, killing warriors and retreating before reinforcements arrived. 1 week after the power failed, Voss received a message through his personal communication device. He had not known humans could access krill military frequencies. The message contained no words, only a recording. He watched his own weapon strike play back in slow motion. He watched human families die in the vacuum. Then he watched a simple text message appear. "You killed our families. We will kill everything." The temperature aboard the destroyer dropped steadily as life support continued failing. Voss sent teams to manually repair critical systems. The humans killed these teams and destroyed their tools. His crew began dying from cold, thirst, and starvation. On day 10, Voss attempted to broadcast a distress signal. He discovered the humans had destroyed every communication array, every emergency beacon, every backup system. They had trapped his entire crew aboard a dying ship with no way to call for help. Hannah Ortiz led the mining team through the destroyer's corridors. She wore her deceased husband's jacket over her pressure suit. The plasma strike had killed him along with her 2 children and everyone she considered family. She felt nothing except cold determination. Her team planted their last charges near the destroyer's remaining oxygen reserves. They had studied krill ship design during their months of mining in territory the Empire claimed. They knew every system, every backup, every emergency protocol. Miners survived by understanding complex machinery. This ship was just another machine. Captain Riley Harris monitored their progress from the human mining ship docked against the destroyer's hull. He had lost his sister and her family in the attack. 3,000 people dead because some alien empire wanted rocks in space. He considered the price of revenge acceptable. "Charges set," Ortiz reported. "Oxygen reserves will vent in 30 seconds." Harris watched the countdown. "All teams return to base. We are done here." The human miners withdrew from the destroyer, sealing every entrance behind them. They left the Krill crew trapped in a cold, dark tomb floating among the asteroids. No rescue would come. The humans had destroyed the destroyer's ability to call for help weeks ago. The last Krill warrior died on day 18. His personal log, recovered months later by a galactic patrol ship, described the systematic elimination of his crew. He wrote about the humans broadcasting names of their dead over the ship's internal speakers. He wrote about watching his comrades die while the miners worked methodically through the vessel. His final entry questioned why humans fought with such relentless hatred. Harris could have explained. Humans remembered their dead. They honored murdered families by ensuring justice, no matter the cost. The Krill had treated human lives as insignificant obstacles. They learned too late that humans valued their families above everything else in the universe. The mining colony rebuilt among the asteroids. They erected a memorial listing every person killed in the plasma strike. They continued their work, extracting valuable minerals and shipping them back to Earth. Nobody bothered them again. Word spread through the Krill Empire about the destroyed destroyer. 800 warriors dead, lost to primitive miners using improvised weapons and technical knowledge. Other Krill commanders studied the incident and quietly avoided human settlements. Some lessons, Harris reflected, needed to be taught in blood. Fleet Master Quinn studied the convoy through his ship's sensors. 5 human cargo vessels traveled through deep space, each one loaded with supplies heading toward the outer colonies. His 19 ships surrounded them in a loose formation that prevented escape. The ambush had gone perfectly. The Thelker pirates specialized in hitting soft targets. They avoided military vessels and focused on merchants who could not fight back effectively. Most species surrendered quickly when faced with overwhelming numbers. The pirates took cargo, disabled ships, and departed before authorities arrived. Clean, efficient, profitable. Quinn broadcast his standard demands. Human vessels, shut down your engines and prepare for boarding. Resist and we will destroy you. Comply and you will survive. 2 human ships stopped immediately. Their captains understood basic mathematics. 19 warships against 5 cargo haulers meant certain death if they fought. Quinn smiled, showing his teeth. These mammals seemed smarter than expected. The remaining 3 human ships accelerated away from the ambush point. Quinn ordered pursuit. His faster vessels caught them within an hour. Weapons fire disabled their engines and breached their cargo holds. Atmosphere vented into space along with containers of food, medicine, and construction materials. The 3 damaged ships drifted to a stop, leaking air and power. Quinn expected distress calls or surrender offers. Instead, the humans maintained complete silence. Their communication systems functioned according to his sensors, but nobody spoke. Lieutenant Sam Foster watched his ship die around him. The pirate attack had killed 17 of his crew. The engine room lay open to vacuum. Life support failed in 3 sections. They had perhaps 6 days of air remaining if everyone stayed in pressure suits and minimized activity. His captain died in the initial strike. Foster now commanded 43 survivors scattered across a vessel that could no longer maneuver. Standard procedure dictated surrender to preserve life. His crew expected him to negotiate with the pirates for their survival. He considered the stolen cargo instead. Medical supplies meant for a colony suffering from disease, food for settlements facing shortages, basic materials for families building homes. The pirates would sell everything to the highest bidder while people died waiting for help that never arrived. Foster accessed the communication system. He opened a channel to the other damaged human ships. "This is Foster. I am not surrendering. Anyone who wants to try reaching the escape pods, go now. No judgment. Everyone else, suit up. We have work to do." Nobody left. 43 crew members began preparing for what came next. The pirates spent 3 days processing stolen cargo from the captured ships. Quinn watched his crew transfer containers filled with valuable goods. The profit from this single raid would fund his fleet for months. The three damaged human ships continued drifting nearby, apparently abandoned by their surviving crews. On day 4, his navigator Dex reported something unusual. The damaged ships are following us. Quinn checked the sensors. The three human vessels maintained position 5,000 kilometers behind his fleet. They could not maneuver properly with disabled engines. They should have fallen behind as his ships moved toward the next jump point. They are using positioning thrusters, Dex explained, burning through their remaining fuel to match our course and speed. Quinn found this behavior strange but not threatening. The ships could not fight. Their weapons systems showed no power signatures. Perhaps the humans hoped to follow his fleet to civilization and call for rescue. He ignored them and continued toward the jump point. On day 7, one of his cargo haulers reported a system malfunction. The main drive cut out unexpectedly, stranding the vessel. Quinn sent a repair team to investigate. They found a small explosive device attached to a critical power conduit. The device appeared to be manufactured from mining equipment. 3 more ships experienced similar malfunctions over the next 2 days. Each one carried hidden explosives in carefully chosen locations. Quinn realized the truth with growing horror. The humans had sent teams across empty space during the pursuit. They boarded his ships in secret and planted sabotage devices throughout his fleet. He tried to communicate with the damaged human vessels. "We can negotiate. We will return your cargo. Just stop the attacks." Foster listened to the pirate's transmission. He thought about the colony waiting for medicine. He thought about families needing food. He thought about standard operating procedure that said preserving life mattered more than recovering cargo. He chose not to respond. The human teams had trained for emergency repairs in vacuum. They knew how to cross distances between ships using minimal thrust and magnetic grapples. They understood which systems kept vessels operational and which ones, if damaged, would cause cascading failures. Quinn's fleet began dying ship by ship. Life support failed. Water recyclers stopped working. Food storage units lost power. His crews reported seeing suited figures moving between vessels in the darkness of space. The humans struck like ghosts, sabotaged critical systems, and vanished before defenders could respond. On day 12, Quinn broadcast a general distress call. He needed rescue for 19 ships stranded in deep space with failing life support. The nearest galactic patrol station lay 3 weeks away. His crews would die of thirst long before help arrived. The human ships maintained their position 5,000 kilometers distant. They simply watched and waited. Dex checked their remaining supplies: 2 days of water, perhaps 4 days of recycled air. The humans had destroyed everything needed for survival while leaving weapons and engines untouched. They wanted the pirates to die slowly, fully aware of their approaching death. Foster received daily reports from his teams. The pirates broadcast increasingly desperate messages, begging for mercy, offering payment, promising to never attack human ships again. He listened to each transmission and deleted them without responding. His crew asked if they should stop. The pirates were defeated, no longer a threat. Surely they had learned their lesson. Foster thought about the stolen medical supplies. He thought about children who might die because medicine never arrived. He thought about the cost of showing mercy to predators. "We wait as long as it takes," he said. The last pirate died on day 18. Galactic Patrol found the fleet 3 weeks later. 19 vessels drifted dead in space. Crews expired from dehydration. The patrol ship recovered one final transmission from Quinn. It described watching suited humans maintain position in nearby ships while his people died of thirst. The report noted that no human violated galactic law. They simply refused to help. The galaxy learned another lesson about humanity. Humans did not just remember their enemies. They waited with infinite patience for revenge to complete itself. War Master Grell reviewed the tactical displays in the command center deep beneath the Soltar homeworld. The reports from the frontier showed disturbing patterns. Human settlements expanded rapidly across disputed territories. Their mining operations claimed resources the Soltar Dominion needed for industrial production. Their colonies established permanent structures on worlds the Dominion considered future expansion sites. The War Council had debated this problem for months. Traditional diplomatic pressure failed. Humans ignored territorial warnings. They continued building settlements and extracting resources as if Soltar claims meant nothing. Economic sanctions proved worthless against a species that maintained surprising self-sufficiency. "We must demonstrate our strength," Grell argued to the assembled military leadership. "A single devastating strike will force the humans to negotiate from a position of weakness. They lack our technology. They lack our military tradition. They will surrender when they understand the alternative." The War Council approved the operation. 23 warships loaded with orbital bombardment weapons, devices banned by galactic treaty for their indiscriminate lethality. The target, New Perth, a human colony world home to 500,000 civilians. The strike would demonstrate Soltar resolve without actually threatening Earth itself. Admiral Chen Wei received the warnings too late. New Perth had minimal defense systems. The colony focused on agriculture and research, not military preparedness. Her small patrol fleet could not stop 23 capital ships equipped with planetary bombardment weapons. She evacuated everyone possible to underground shelters. Families crammed into spaces designed for emergency use, not long-term survival. Children cried while parents tried to maintain calm. Scientists destroyed decades of research rather than let it fall into enemy hands. Farmers watched their fields through cameras, knowing everything they built would soon cease to exist. The Soltar weapons fired from orbital positions. Energy beams capable of burning through bedrock carved across the planet's surface. Cities vaporized. Agricultural zones became scorched wasteland. The ocean boiled in massive sections. 500,000 humans died in 20 minutes of sustained bombardment. Grell watched the destruction from his command ship. He felt satisfaction at the display of Soltar power. Surely the humans would now understand their position in the galactic order. He prepared a generous surrender offer, one that would allow the surviving humans to maintain limited presence in systems the Dominion claimed. Chen Wei stood in the ruins of New Perth's capital city. The bombardment had melted the buildings into twisted sculptures of slag and glass. Bodies lay scattered among the debris, burned beyond recognition. She walked through the destruction and cataloged every detail. Her mind recorded images that would never fade. She received the Soltar surrender terms through military channels. The offer included humanitarian aid, reconstruction assistance, and guaranteed safety for remaining human colonies if humanity accepted Dominion authority in disputed territories. The terms seemed reasonable to outside observers. Any logical species would accept rather than face more destruction. Chen Wei deleted the message. She accessed secure communication networks connecting all human military forces. She transmitted a single code phrase, Protocol Terra, total authorization. Protocol Terra existed as humanity's ultimate deterrent. Every human colony, every military ship, every research station maintained sealed orders that activated only under this specific code. The protocol dated back to Earth's nuclear age, when humanity accepted that some threats demanded overwhelming response regardless of consequences. Admiral Foster received the activation code aboard the human fleet's command carrier. He opened sealed orders that his crew had transported for 7 years without knowing their contents. He read the mission parameters 3 times to ensure complete understanding. "Prepare all vessels for combat operations," he ordered. "Retrieve stored weapons from deep hold. Authorization code Terra-97. His weapons officer looked confused. Sir, the deep hold contains decommissioned nuclear weapons from Earth. Those are museum pieces, not active ordnance. Foster met the officer's eyes. They were decommissioned. Protocol Terra recommissions them. Get moving. The Soltar War Council expected negotiations. They received a human broadcast instead. Chen Wei appeared on every communication channel reaching Dominion space. Her uniform showed scorch marks from the New Perth bombardment. Her face held no expression. You murdered 500,000 human civilians, she stated. You used weapons banned by galactic law against an undefended colony. You believed we would surrender because we lack your advanced technology. You were wrong. She gestured to displays showing the human fleet. We maintained nuclear weapons from our home world, primitive by galactic standards, devastating by any standard. We are now en route to 3 Soltar colony worlds. You will evacuate them completely within 96 hours. If any Soltar remains on those worlds when we arrive, we will launch nuclear bombardment. We will turn your colonies into radioactive tombs. Grell watched the broadcast with growing disbelief. They are bluffing. Nuclear weapons are crude and dangerous. No civilized species would actually use them. Tech Prime Eula reviewed the sensor data from the human fleet. The ships carried hundreds of warheads, each one capable of rendering large areas uninhabitable for generations. The humans had retrofitted their vessels to deliver these weapons through every method possible: missiles, torpedoes, and even manual delivery by suited crews. War Master, they are not bluffing, Eula said quietly. Their fleet is moving toward our colonies at maximum speed. We have 96 hours. The War Council convened in emergency session. They could respond with their own weapons, but the humans had already demonstrated willingness to accept massive casualties. Any attack on human forces would guarantee nuclear retaliation against Dominion worlds. The species faced a choice: evacuate 3 colonies or risk mutual annihilation. Grell made the decision that would haunt his remaining years. Begin evacuation operations. All civilians off-world within the time limit. 3 Soltar colonies emptied in frantic exodus. Millions of civilians abandoned homes, businesses, and lives built over generations. The evacuation ships could not carry everything. People fled with whatever fit in small bags, leaving entire civilizations' worth of infrastructure behind. The human fleet arrived exactly 96 hours after Chen Wei's broadcast. They verified the colony stood empty. They maintained position over the abandoned worlds, nuclear weapons armed and ready. The message was clear: these worlds belong to humanity now. Any attempt to reclaim them would result in their destruction. The Galactic Council intervened, negotiating a ceasefire between the 2 powers. Human forces agreed to withdraw from Soltar colonies if the Dominion formally recognized human territorial claims and paid reparations for New Perth. The alternative remained nuclear warfare that would devastate both civilizations. Grell signed the agreement. The Soltar Dominion paid more in reparations and lost territory than they would have spent accepting human presence in disputed systems. They learned what the Krill and Thelker learned before them. Humans did not fight proportional wars. They escalated beyond any rational calculation of cost versus benefit. Chen Wei returned to the ruins of New Perth. She walked among the memorials being erected for the dead. She felt no satisfaction in the victory. 500,000 humans died because aliens underestimated human determination. The galaxy learned to fear that determination. They learned that humans would choose mutual destruction over surrender. They learned that attacking human civilians guaranteed overwhelming retaliation regardless of consequences. They learned to never attack humans, because when humans declared total war, no one survived. High Scholar Bryn activated the central holographic display. The Galactic Council chamber filled with overlapping images showing the three incidents from multiple perspectives. She had spent months analyzing every piece of evidence, every transmission, every survivor account. The patterns she discovered kept her awake during rest cycles. "Honored delegates," she began, her bioluminescent patterns pulsing with nervous energy. "I present my complete analysis of human military behavior. The conclusions disturb me greatly." The first hologram showed Earth from orbit. The planet rotated slowly, blue oceans and green continents visible through scattered clouds. It appeared peaceful, almost idyllic. The appearance deceived. "Earth is classified as a Class 7 death world," Bryn explained. "Only 3% of known planets receive this classification. Earth contains over 1 million species, most of them predators. Humans evolved as apex pursuit hunters. They track prey across vast distances until exhaustion claimed the target. This strategy required extraordinary endurance and patience." She displayed footage of early humans hunting across African plains. Most predators strike quickly and retreat if initial attacks fail. Humans followed prey for days without stopping. They developed biological adaptations specifically for persistent pursuit, efficient cooling systems, energy storage for sustained activity, psychological structures that rewarded long-term goal achievement. Ambassador Trill shifted uncomfortably. "Scholar, how does ancient hunting behavior relate to modern warfare?" Bryn changed the display to show the Thelker pirate fleet dying slowly in space. Humans brought their hunting strategies to the stars. Lieutenant Foster pursued pirates for 18 days. His crew crossed vacuum repeatedly to sabotage enemy vessels. They waited patiently while their targets died of thirst. This directly mirrors pursuit hunting. Humans do not need to kill quickly. They can wait as long as necessary for prey to collapse. The chamber erupted in uncomfortable murmurs. Several delegates compared notes through private communication channels. The idea of warfare as extended hunting made traditional military doctrine seem inadequate. Security Chief Knox stepped forward. "The scholar's analysis continues. Humans also developed unique cultural structures around revenge. Most species practice proportional response. Humans practice escalating response." The display showed human tribal history. Ancient human societies practiced blood feuds that lasted generations. If one tribe killed a member of another tribe, the entire group became responsible. The injured tribe would pursue revenge against all members of the offending group, not just the individual who committed the initial offense. Knox gestured at the hologram showing New Perth's destruction. "The Soltar killed 500,000 humans. Any other species would calculate acceptable losses and negotiate. Humans instead threatened to render 3 entire Soltar colonies uninhabitable. They were willing to commit genocide to balance accounts. This is not rational military strategy. This is cultural revenge instinct applied on an industrial scale." A delegate from the Vex Collective raised an objection. "Surely modern humans have evolved beyond primitive tribal instincts." Ambassador Kate Lynn appeared on the display through holographic transmission. She had agreed to answer questions directly through this format, though she refused to return to the council chamber physically. Her image stood calm and composed despite discussing species-wide destruction. "We have not evolved beyond our instincts," Lynn admitted freely. "We have simply learned to direct them. Humans remain tribal at our core. We form groups based on shared identity. We defend our tribe members with extraordinary violence. The difference now is that our tribe includes all humans everywhere." She paused, letting that sink in. "When the Krill attacked that mining colony, they did not attack strangers. They attacked our family. Every human felt that attack personally. We all became invested in responding. This is not weakness. This is our greatest strength." Bryn displayed comparative statistics. Other species maintain hierarchy. Individuals value themselves over others. Groups splinter when facing existential threats. Humans unify. Threat to one becomes threat to all. This creates unprecedented collective response. The hologram showed human history, wars between nations, religious conflicts, ideological battles, centuries of internal conflict that claimed millions of lives. Then it showed humanity's first contact with alien life. The internal conflict stopped almost immediately. Humans spent 6,000 years fighting themselves, Bryn continued. They developed every form of warfare imaginable. They learned psychological manipulation, guerrilla tactics, total war doctrines, and mutually assured destruction strategies. They practiced these methods on each other until reaching near extinction multiple times. Then they joined galactic civilization and stopped fighting internally. She highlighted recent human diplomatic history. For 2 generations, humans have maintained perfect internal peace. No wars between human factions. No significant conflicts over territory or resources. They present unified front to all external species. This suggests they transferred their conflict instincts outward. They now view all non-humans as potential enemies and all humans as extended tribe members. Trill found this analysis terrifying. Are you suggesting humans cannot coexist peacefully with other species? Lynn responded before Bryn could answer. We coexist perfectly well when treated with respect. We maintain positive relationships with 43 different species. We engage in mutually beneficial trade, cultural exchange, and scientific cooperation. We have never initiated hostilities against any peaceful species. Her expression hardened. However, we respond to attacks with absolute finality. This is not personal hatred. This is survival instinct refined through millions of years of evolution and thousands of years of warfare. If you attack us, we eliminate you completely. Not because we enjoy violence, because anything less than total victory leaves threats alive to attack again. The chamber fell silent. Delegates processed implications of this statement. Humans apparently made excellent allies and absolutely terrible enemies. The key was never crossing the line from the first category to the second. Bryn concluded her presentation. My analysis identifies 3 key factors in human military behavior. First, pursuit hunting instincts that enable extreme patience. Second, tribal revenge structures that demand overwhelming response to attacks. Third, unprecedented unity when facing external threats. These factors combine to create the most dangerous military opponent we have encountered. Knox activated the communication array. The Council has voted. We will broadcast a formal warning across all known space. The message is simple: never attack humans. No negotiation exists after humans decide you are their enemy. No force has successfully defended against human retaliation. No attacked human population has forgiven their attackers. The warning began transmitting on all frequencies. It would reach every corner of the galaxy within days. The message carried footage from all 3 incidents. It showed Krill warriors dying aboard their own ship. It showed pirate crews expiring of thirst. It showed Soltar colonies evacuated under nuclear threat. The broadcast ended with Lynn's final statement. Leave us in peace, and we will be your greatest friends. Attack us, and we will finish you. There are no survivors among those who threaten human families. The Galactic Council chamber slowly emptied as delegates returned to their home systems. They carried news of humanity's true nature. The peaceful species that seemed so harmless upon first contact concealed something far more dangerous. Earth had not sent explorers to the stars. Earth had sent survivors who refused to die regardless of obstacles. The galaxy learned to fear what hid beneath humanity's friendly surface. Cadet Finn sat in the Military Academy lecture hall as the broadcast reached their system. Around him, 200 other students from various species watched the holographic display with growing horror. The footage showed systematic destruction inflicted by humans against 3 different military forces. Each attacker outmatched human forces initially. Each attacker died completely. The instructor paused the broadcast. Her voice carried across the silent hall. This material is now mandatory training for all military personnel. The Galactic Council has established new combat doctrines specifically addressing human encounters. Pay careful attention. Finn glanced at his classmates. Everyone seemed shaken. They had all trained to fight conventional battles against conventional enemies. The footage showed something entirely different. Humans fought like nothing they studied in tactical courses. Sergeant Roth entered the lecture hall. The old soldier moved with a slight limp from injuries sustained during his service years. He had patrolled near human space for a decade before retiring. The instructor yielded the floor to him. "I served on the frontier when humans first arrived in our sector," Roth began. His voice carried the weight of experience. "We thought they seemed soft. They smiled constantly. They shared food and stories. They appeared almost childlike in their enthusiasm for meeting new species. We completely misunderstood what we faced." He activated another holographic display showing a bar fight on a trading station. Humans mingled with various species, laughing and socializing. Then a Gorlan merchant struck a human after a disagreement over prices. The response came faster than Finn could track. The human moved with explosive violence, breaking the Gorlan's arm in 2 places before station security could intervene. "Humans maintain 2 modes," Roth explained. "Friendly and lethal. No gradual transition exists between them. They seem peaceful until threatened, then they become something entirely different." This trader had never served in military forces. He was a civilian transporting agricultural equipment, yet he moved like a trained killer when attacked. Another cadet raised her hand. "Sergeant, surely this is individual variation. Not all humans can be dangerous." Roth smiled without humor. "That is what we thought. Then we studied their death world. Earth contains poisonous plants, venomous insects, predatory mammals, and weather patterns that kill through extreme temperatures. Humans evolved to survive constant threat. Their danger response is not learned behavior. It is biological imperative." Captain Oren reviewed the warning broadcast aboard his merchant vessel. He had traded across the galaxy for 30 years without incident. He maintained positive relationships with crews from dozens of species. He avoided conflicts and followed all regulations carefully. The broadcast still made him nervous. His first officer noticed his tension. "Captain, we have never had problems with humans. Why does this worry you?" Oren gestured at the screen. "Because I have transported humans several times. I treated them courteously and fulfilled contracts completely. They were polite, paid fairly, and caused no trouble. But I saw something in their eyes that disturbed me. They were always watching, always evaluating, always prepared for something to go wrong." He pulled up records from previous human passengers. This family traveled with young children. The parents seemed relaxed and friendly. But I noticed the father positioned himself between his children and every doorway we passed. The mother maintained constant awareness of her surroundings. They moved like soldiers escorting high-value assets, except the assets were their own offspring. The first officer studied the footage. They were protecting their family. Many species do this. "Not like humans," Oren said. "Most species protect through avoidance. Humans protect through controlled aggression. They prepare for violence even during peaceful activities. This broadcast confirms what I suspected. Humans are always ready for war. They simply choose not to start it." Dr. Lena Noack sat in her research station orbiting Earth. She had spent 15 years studying xenopsychology, trying to build bridges between human understanding and alien perspectives. The warning broadcast complicated her work significantly. Galactic news services requested her commentary on human psychology. She accepted the interview through holographic transmission. The interviewer appeared simultaneously on 17 different networks reaching billions of viewers. "Dr. Noack, many species fear humans after watching this broadcast. Can you explain human behavior? Lena chose her words carefully. Humans are not inherently evil or violent. We evolved on a planet that constantly threatened our survival. We developed psychological adaptations that prioritize threat response. When peaceful, we are genuinely peaceful. When threatened, we become genuinely dangerous. Both states represent authentic human nature. The interviewer pressed further, but the brutality shown in these incidents, the complete destruction of attacking forces, how do you justify this? I do not justify it, Lena replied. I explain it. Humans calculate acceptable losses differently than other species. We will sacrifice everything to protect our families and communities. This is not rational from outside perspectives. It is completely rational from evolutionary standpoints. Humans who failed to protect their groups did not survive to pass on their genes. We descend from the most aggressively protective individuals our species produced. She displayed anthropological data. Every human culture developed concepts of just war and proportional response, but every culture also maintained traditions of total war when facing extinction. The Geneva Conventions, the Hague Regulations, the Luna Accords, humans create rules for limiting warfare. Then we break those rules completely when we perceive existential threats. The broadcast reached the furthest corners of known space within 48 hours. Trade routes adjusted to avoid potential conflicts with human vessels. Military academies incorporated human combat studies into required curriculum. Diplomatic corps established strict protocols for interacting with human representatives. Some aggressive species scoffed at the warnings. They viewed the three incidents as flukes or exaggerations. They believed their own military superiority would overcome human desperation. These species carefully avoided making the same mistakes as the krill, thelker, and soltar. They planned more carefully. They struck more decisively. They learned the same lesson in their own blood. Finn graduated from military academy 2 years after the broadcast. His entire class received special training on human military doctrine. They practiced de-escalation techniques. They learned to identify human defensive postures. They studied the exact wording that would prevent accidental conflicts. The final lesson stayed with Finn forever. His instructor displayed footage of human children playing on a colony world. They looked innocent and harmless. They laughed and ran through gardens while parents watched peacefully. Remember this, the instructor said. Those children represent what humans protect. Attack those children and humans will follow you across the galaxy. They will spend years hunting you. They will sacrifice their own lives to ensure you die. This is not theory. This is proven fact backed by multiple examples. Never attack humans. No one survives. The warning became galactic law. Species that ignored it ceased to exist. Species that respected it found humans to be generous allies and valuable partners. The galaxy learned to coexist with the species from Earth. They learned through fear, but they learned. Ambassador Lin stood on Earth looking at the stars. Somewhere up there, species debated humanity's nature. Some called humans monsters. Some called humans necessary evil. Some called humans friends. She accepted all these descriptions. Humans contained multitudes. They could be whatever situations demanded. She thought about the families lost in 3 separate incidents. She thought about the complete annihilation of 3 attacking forces. She felt no guilt. She felt no satisfaction. She felt only certainty that humanity would survive regardless of obstacles. The galaxy could accept humans or attack humans. The choice belonged to other species. The outcome, however, was predetermined. Those who chose peace found friends. Those who chose war found extinction. Humanity would protect its own. Nothing in the universe could change that simple truth.